Want to invest in real estate? But wait, real estate means buying properties, and that requires hundreds of thousands of dollars. I just have $100. Don't worry, you can actually start with just that. Really? Yep. So investing with $100 is not about buying some random piece of land in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about something called a REIT, a real estate investment trust. We'll break this into four main parts, and first is the introduction to what is REIT. Here's the simplest way to understand it. Normally, you buy shares of a company in the stock market, and if the company makes money, you get a piece of that profit, which depends on how much percent you own the stocks. A REIT works the same way, except instead of owning a business stocks, you're owning income-producing real estate like apartments, malls, or warehouses. It's still complicated, right? Wait, imagine there's a building worth $100,000. You only have $100, which means you can't even buy a window of that building, so no way you owning the full property. But if you put your $100 into a REIT can buy that building from your money, right? No, because that's just $100. But like you, many others would come to invest too, which will then become $100,000 in total, which will give enough money to buy the building. Now let's say that building earns $5,000 in rent every month. Since your $100 equals 0.1% of the total, you'll earn about 0.1% of that rent, which is $5. So with just $100, you technically own 0.1% of that property. Amazing! Okay, but wait. You might be thinking $5 a month with $100 of investment doesn't look like a good deal, right? That brings us to part 2. How REITs generates passive income. So it all comes down to rent. A REIT owns properties, and tenants pay rent every month. That rent becomes income for the REIT. Now here's the cool part. In the US, REITs are legally required to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income back to shareholders. That basically means instead of the company keeping all the profit, it flows back to you in the form of dividends. Dividends are simply your share of the rent money. For example, if you invest $500 in a REIT that pays a 5% dividend, you'll earn about $25 a year. It's usually paid quarterly, so around $6 every 3 months. Wait. $6 every 3 months means $2 each month. Bro, you serious? I didn't click on this video to make $2 a month. That's absolutely nothing. Bro, wait. And see, you still don't know the full story yet. Yep. So just listen carefully. Now here's what most people miss. $25 a year on $500 won't change your life overnight. In fact, if you only invested $100 and earned 5%, that's just $5 a year. That means it would take 20 years to fully earn back your $100 investment, which is miserable. But here's the real strategy. You don't just put in $100 once and stop. If you keep adding $100 every month, fast forward 3 to 5 years, instead of just getting $5 a year, you might be collecting a few $100s every year. That's when REIT start feeling like real passive income. So it's not about getting rich instantly. So now you would ask, how do I get my first REIT, which we will discuss in part 3. How to get your first REIT. All right, here's the easy part. You don't buy a REIT from a real estate agent. You buy it the same way you'd buy Apple or Tesla stock, which is through a brokerage app. Open up Robinhood, Fidelity, Schwab, Webull, whichever platform you like, and search for REITs. Now you've got 2 choices. First, individual REIT. These are single companies that own properties. For example, Realty Income is a well-known REIT that owns thousands of commercial properties across the US. Second, REIT ETFs. These are like baskets of REIT bundled together. If one sector struggles, the others balance it out. Think of it as instant diversification. And the best part? Many REITs trade under $100 a share. So with just a couple $100, you can own a slice of dozens of properties across the country. Seriously, a few taps on your phone and boom, you're officially a real estate investor. But as exciting as REIT sound, a lot of people slip up in the beginning and end up wasting a lot of money. So let's talk about part 4, which is the most common mistakes people make. So here's a list of blunders beginners make, so pay attention. And don't worry, I'll keep this short. Mistake number 1, chasing high dividends. If you see a REIT paying 12% dividends, it might sound amazing, but high yield often means high risk. Maybe the company is struggling. Don't get blinded by big numbers. Find safe, trusted, and reasonable REITs to invest. Mistake number 2, not diversifying. Some beginners throw all their money into one type of REIT, but look at what happened recently. Office REITs struggled after the work-from-home boom. If you only had money in offices, you'd be stuck. So put your money in different types. So even if one struggles, you are making from others' types. Mistake number 3, forgetting about taxes. REIT dividends are usually taxed as regular income, so don't be surprised at tax time. Mistake number 4, treating REITs like a get-rich-quick scheme. They're designed for steady, long-term income. If you expect to double your money overnight, you'll be disappointed. Because it takes years to just start making profits. But the reason it's good money source is that after years of investing, it will make you money without doing anything. Perfect passive income. Mistake number 5, ignoring fees in ETFs. Some REIT ETFs have higher expense ratios. Always check before you buy. So let's end this now. REIT are one of the simplest ways to start investing in real estate, but only if you stay smart and avoid these beginner traps. Check out these videos because YouTube thinks you'll like them.